All right, guys. Well, after that incredible game, I was kind of curious to know if there were other teams that had scored so many runs in the ninth inning of a game. And I'll show you what I've come up with. So I guess this sort of is almost like an advertisement, right? We're using StatHead. If you haven't used it before, you can check it out. Fairly easy to use. There are times that I like it, times I don't like it so much. This is the sort of thing that it's pretty good for because then it's really easy to do this search. I just did a query for number of teams who have 10 or more runs scored in the ninth inning of each game. You can see that there's a total of 19 different examples of this with 10 or more runs. Now, we had 13 in that inning. There are only two games of all time that had that, one in 78 and one in 2001. In other words, this game would have set the all-time record. The record before then, and I bet nobody in 1949 would have known this, would have been the New York Giants in 34. So let's take a quick look here. We'll look, first of all, at these two games with 13 runs scored. First one was this Angels against Rangers game in September 1978, when most people probably weren't paying much attention. There were about 8,000 people there in Texas. It was a 3-1 game going to the top of the ninth, and then the Rangers just fell apart. Doc Ellis fell apart, and then there were 1, 2, 3, 4 different relief pitchers before they finally got the side out. And I mean, this one just looks really, really ugly, right? There were 2 out actually when all the damage was done. There was a runner on at first, and then there was an error, and then there was a pitching change, and that's where the damage was done. So Jim Umbarger didn't do all so well. Reggie Cleveland, a name that we knew a little bit better, didn't do well either. He was taken out after intentionally walking Joe Rudy after Don Baylor stole second, which is weird. So you have him intentionally walk the next batter, and then you take him out. They put in Len Barker, who gave up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 run hits in a row, and then on came Danny Darwin to give up a sacrifice fly. Oh, I see here. This fielder's choice was actually an error, so there was only 1 out when all this happened. And then finally, this one ended in the end after 13 runs had been scored. No home runs in that bunch, by the way. Down 16-1, the Rangers did try to come back. Richie Zisk did hit a double. If you're like me, if you're keeping score, if you're playing this game in Diamond Mine, you're sitting there looking and thinking, why don't you just give up, man? Because I'm tired of looking at this. So that's enough of that. We're not going to look at that ugliness again. Here come the Tigers. This was in August 2001. Tigers were not a very good team that year. I remember that year. Let's see. The Rangers scored 6 runs, and the Tigers had 6 as well. It was a 6-6 tie going to the top of the ninth when Detroit bust loose. And once again, we see some pitchers who didn't do so well there for the Rangers. There was a hit by pitch, a double, then an intentional walk. And that's when it really started. Triple, a double, wild pitch, a single. There was the replacement, and then there was the big home run, and it just kept going and going. Finally, you get 1 out there, and then you get another out here, and then at the very end, you do after those 13 runs had scored. I mean, the Tigers came close to breaking the record. If they had 1 more, they would have had the most runs in the ninth inning for a single game. So interesting stuff to look at. The other one we wanted to look at, of course, is this game, and then we'll take a quick look as well at these 2 games here that are close to 1949. So it's not completely without precedent, right? This would have been the record at the time. This was August 4th, 1934, and it was the 34 Giants. You may forget about this. The 34 Giants were neck and neck with the Cardinals that season during what they called the dizziest season. That was the year the Gas House Gang barely came out on top, thanks in large part to Dizzy Dean and Paul Dean and their heroics. But this was a good Giants team. I mean, this is played at the Baker Bowl. It almost doesn't count. 16,000 people in attendance watched. The Giants had a 10-4 lead, and they scored 11 more in the ninth to make it 21. Reggie Grabowski was the unfortunate soul who had to give up all of this. And so, as you can see, for the time period that we're playing, it's actually not that unrealistic to have the pitcher just go in and take his lumps, right? And that's kind of what happened in this case. I'm just looking for the outs. There's a fly ball, so there's 1 of them. There's a strikeout, and where's the other out? Did they only have 2 outs in the inning, and they gave him 1 or something? I don't know. Oh, here we go. It's right here. This was a ground out that resulted in another run scoring, by which time, I have to be honest, the Philadelphia bullpen or the infield probably had given up. Again, you'll notice no home runs. They just decided to hit every ball that they saw. Here at the end, we'll take a look at this one from 51 and this one from 1950, since these games are a little bit closer to what it is that we've experienced. This was, look at that, a Yankees at the Browns game. That's interesting. Where have I seen that before? May 3rd, 1951. Boy, I wonder why in the world this would happen then. This time the Browns, yeah, they used a couple of pitchers, looked like Sid Schacht and Bobby Herrera in that fateful top of the ninth. And I mean, the Yankees were ahead 6-3 already. And yeah, double, single by Rizzuto on the bunt, sending Mantle to third. Then McDougal with the triple. Jackie Jensen, interesting, with the triple, and then a ground ball. Big home run by Joe Collins, a double walk, a single by Allie Reynolds, hitting for himself. And then a walk, strikeout by Billy Martin. So Billy didn't get to participate in the festivities. He hit for Phil Rizzuto, by the way, and then McDougal hit a big home run. Man, Gil McDougal had a triple scoring 2 and then hit a grand slam home run in the same inning. And then Jackie Jensen hit a home run to make it an even 11. Yeah, the Yankees were pretty good, weren't they? 17 hits for the Yankees against 5 for the Browns. How about that? And then this one, May 3rd, 1950, the Braves of the Pirates. Looks like this was actually a 4-4 tie going into the top of the ninth. And then Boston just completely exploded against the Pirate pitching. Pirates' weakness in this era was pitching. And you can see they had Vic Lombardi, who fell apart, gave up a walk, a single. There was a ground out, almost a double play, I'm assuming, and then that home run by Bob Elliott that broke the game open, and then a single, and then a double. In came Hal Gregg, and he did a lot of nothing, didn't get anyone out. And then finally Woody Main came in, and in the end, he did get an out, 2 outs actually. One of them was Elliott being thrown out at home, trying to score the 12th run. So you can't say that those guys were content with just sort of letting what happened happen. They decided to push the issue a little bit. So there's your history of games like this. As you can see, it's not out of the question to see a team with 20 or 21 runs, and most of them were scored in the 9th inning. 1999, I mean, yeah, we know about 1999. But check like this one out, right? 1984, you think of, this is in the Kingdom, which was, the Homer Dome. But, this is a heck of a game. The Blue Jays come into this game, they're down 3-1, and they score 11 in the top of the ninth and give up 4 in the bottom of the ninth. How about that? You ever see a game like this, and they're almost all singles, and walks, so much for the home runs. It was Alvin Davis, though, who got a grand slam home run when nobody was there anymore. We love Alvin Davis. We love the Mariners from this era, but that's another story for another time. 8,000 people there in attendance at the beautiful Kingdom, which must have really felt like a tomb then. And so, this happens throughout history, right? First example of this was actually in 33. And so, interestingly enough, nothing from 1930 or 1931. So go figure there. And there you go. Those are all the times that you've seen teams score 10 runs or more in an inning. By the way, you'll notice here it's all in the top of the ninth. The reason why is naturally because all the teams who were able to score this much were not the home team, right? How many times have you heard of a team scoring 10 in the bottom of the ninth to win the ball game? I've never heard of that. Let me know down below if you have. It'd be interesting to know. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.